Someone caused serious damage to the Memorial for Survivors of Sexual Violence.
Victims of sexual assault protested in the heart of the entertainment industry.
It's a worldwide movement to end sexual violence,
to send a message against sexual assault and harassment.
My name is Abby Honnold, and I am a sexual assault survivor and an activist. I have helped work on law enforcement reform for sexual assault cases, and also I'm working to bring consent education and comprehensive sex education to Minnesota schools. I think it's so important due to my experience, as well as so many other survivors' experiences, being young and not really having the language to advocate for ourselves, to be able to speak out to an adult and get the help that we deserve.
I've been in the movements to end violence for 21 years. This is my 21st year. I began this work as an on-call shelter relief worker, that person that shelter advocates would call for holidays or when someone didn't want to. And I've just kind of worked my way up over the 21 years. I've done this work as a volunteer coordinator. I've done this as an advocate. I've done it also as a prevention advocate. And so currently I am the executive director of the Sexual Violence Center.
I think we really need to direct more resources to things that help survivors, to advocacy centers, to financial restitution for survivors, even those who don't report. I think that survivors who don't report are very much left behind by a lot of the community, as well as those who do report. I mean, there just really isn't a lot of availability for different healing avenues unless you're willing to take that out of your own pocket. And I think people also need to be more educated about sexual assault and all of the different ways that it can impact somebody for a very long time.
We try to understand that healing isn't linear, meaning there's no straight line to healing, that, you know, there may be peaks and valleys, and we're here to meet victims and survivors in those peaks and in those valleys to ensure that no one has to navigate alone.
I think that healing is personal for everybody. For me, it just means moving forward, trying to be better and have more skills and more coping mechanisms than I did the day before, as well as really for me connecting with other survivors. That's been one of the most important things for me, that has helped me feel less alone.
As someone who grew up as a child who witnessed domestic violence in the home, it is important to me that I lend my voice to those who are not yet ready to use their voice or are not able to use their voice.
So I've worked a lot on law enforcement response, because that was a big thing for me, was that the law enforcement response was really bad, and it really impacted my healing and still does in a negative way, and my trust. And I just don't want other victims of sexual assault to ever experience something like that.
I think one of the things that the community can do is stop victim blaming. I often tell people when responding to disclosure, someone is coming to you and say, hey, I had this horrible thing happen. Initially, people start with questions that begin with W. And I said, if your first word is the W word, then that's our opportunity to pause and think, is it something you want to say? So when I'm talking about victim blaming, what were you wearing? Who were you with? What were you doing? You know, and why were you out so late? And things of that nature. And so community realizing that by doing that, that really stopped individuals from coming forward, right? No one impacted by sexual violence has to navigate this alone.